The sound of rebellion, steel in the shadows, the birth of metal, in oppression. Part 1 of 3. In some countries, playing a Black Sabbath riff was an act of war. Welcome back to Headbangers History, where we don't just tell stories, we crank them up to 11. This is part 1 of The Sound of Rebellion. This is the untold history of how heavy metal didn't just rise from the dirt of Birmingham. It spread like wildfire across the world that wanted it dead. So today, tonight, tomorrow, right now, we go deep into the underground, into the basements, the bunkers, even the prison cells, where metalheads risked everything for the music that they love. This is Steel in the Shadows. So let's take a little trip to Russia, USSR. Metal behind the Iron Curtain. Just imagine living in a country where every record is state-controlled, every lyric censored, and long hair marked you as a criminal. That was life in the Soviet Union.
2 years, she skirted back and forth between LA and the USSR, carrying donated guitars and keyboards with her. And on every plane ride back, she left with recordings, lyrics, and music videos of Leningrad's top underground rock bands. She stuffed all this cultural contraband into the soles of her shoes and linings of her coats.
Metal arrived in the USSR not through record stores, but through smuggled cassette tapes. Bootlegs copied hundreds of times until Ozzy's voice sounded like a ghost through static. They called us metalheads, like it was a crime, said Sergei Troitsky, the frontman of Corrosia. Metalla, Corrosia Metalla. Bands like Area, known as the Russian Iron Maiden, they risked state persecution for playing Western-style heavy metal. But the real underground was rougher. Corrosia Metalla played shows in secret warehouses. Their 1985 album, Orden Satani, or Satany, became legend. Not because of radio play, but because kids risked arrest to pass it hand to hand. Now let's take a little trip to Indonesia. The soundtrack to protest across the globe in Indonesia. Heavy metal collided headfirst with dictatorship. Under Suharto's brutal regime from 1967 to 98, Western music was seen as a corrupting force. But metalheads there didn't back down. There were bands like Rotor, and Suckerhead. They turned thrash into protest anthems. Playing Slayer covers became a middle finger to military rule. By the 90s, Jakarta's underground metal scene was so massive, government raids on shows were common. But every shutdown only made the scene stronger. Metal wasn't just music. For them, it was survival. Metal was ours, and it didn't belong to the rich or the government. It belonged to the streets. And that's from a Jakarta fan interviewed in 1993. Now let's tour Eastern Europe. Guitars Against the Wall, Poland, Czechoslovakia, East Germany. Metal spread through Eastern Europe like a virus, carried by travelers, soldiers, black market dealers. In Poland, Cat emerged as one of the rawest early extreme metal bands. Their 1986 album 666 blended speed metal with the rage of a generation that grew up under martial law. Meanwhile, in East Germany, fans built homemade amps out of scrap electronics, guitars carved from stolen wood. Every show felt like a riot waiting to happen. Metal was dangerous because it was free. And that's from an interview in a Polish magazine, 1987. Now let's go to Iran. Metal in the shadows, even today. Metal in Iran is illegal. But that hasn't stopped bands like Arsemis from building a scene in the shadows. They rehearse in soundproof basements, recording tracks in secret, uploading music online under fake names. To them, metal is a rebellion. It's freedom in a place with none, says the Arsemis frontman, who's anonymous to the interviewer. Songs like Cyclops became underground anthems, not for radio, but for kids with headphones hidden beneath hijabs and military uniforms. So in wrapping this up, this honestly was just the beginning. In part 2 of The Sound of Rebellion, we're leaving the shadows. We're going to head straight into the fire. Right from the blood-soaked streets of Brazil. It can't be seen, but can't be found. To the neon chaos of Japan. We'll see how metal exploded into global underground movements. Where metal wasn't just surviving oppression, it was evolving into something far more dangerous. So drop a comment below. Drop a comment below.
Person too. You're a moron.
What's your favorite underground metal band from a country most people overlook? I need you to like, subscribe, hit that bell, all that fluffy stuff.
More take. Please stop saying don't forget to like and subscribe.
Because here on Headbangers History, we're not just going to tell the story of metal. We're going to scream it. I'm Fred Carroll, and this is Headbangers History. I'll see you again in part 2.